signed by the Rector Magnificus and the supervisors, and confirmed with the university seal of approval. Oh, perfect.
Spontaneous situation, I know. Yeah, one more. Great.
I perform a pleasant task, learned sir, in congratulating you on behalf of Tilburg University's doctoral board with the dignity acquired. Congratulations. I perform a pleasant task, learned sir, in congratulating you on behalf of Tilburg University's doctoral board with the dignity acquired. The pronunciation of his laudatio. Congratulations. Please be seated. Well done. I would like now to give the floor to the supervisor for the pronunciation of his laudatio.
Let me start with congratulating you, your family, and friends, either present. Dear Michael, dear Dr. Vo, and let me start with congratulating you, your family, and friends, either present here or online. Right? This is also streamed all the way to Vietnam, I would guess, with this great achievement. Tilburg is not something you do overnight. It takes many years of effort and dedication, and today have been very welcome. Now, especially and apparently, well, you probably know this better than we do, but students still go here to touch stone turtles for good luck with their study program and their exams. Now, of course, I do not know if you also went there, right, to ask for good luck on your PhD thesis. But if you did, it clearly worked out. Now, another thing, at the temple, there's also a sign that mentions actually the responsibility of academic scholars. And you just pronounced the text, or you confirmed the text, right, that we read out that Tilburg uses. But let me also mention the Vietnamese ones, and then we can see how similar they are. So according to the Vietnamese guidelines, a good PhD graduate will be, first of all, commending laureates and encouraging study. Second, asserting the role and value of talents. 3, teaching scholars of moral responsibilities. And 4, encouraging the good and preventing the evil. So that sounds a bit more ambitious actually than what we ask of our doctorates. Anyway, back to you, Michael. You came to Tilburg in 2018. You started gently with the Master of Finance, right? The regular Master of Finance program. Then you thought, well, let's take it a bit step higher, right? To do the Research Master program in Finance, which is a 2-year program. And you passed with very good grades, the Research Master, and hence you got easily accepted into the PhD program of the Finance Department in 2021. And then, right, we directly set up the supervision team with Stefano Nazella, who's next to me, and myself. And that's all good, but then the hard work starts, right? And the first project you started to work on is a project on under and overreaction in option markets. Well, this is a whole journey. I mean, you use different methods, the Koybon-Korodnichenko regressions, VAR models, and so on, trading strategies in options. And you have interesting finding, right? Overreaction in the option market. And this is the option market for individual stocks, while the literature mainly looked at the index options, where there's a different pattern, right? So that was interesting. And you also worked with projects with other colleagues, right? With Peter de Groei, you actually worked on a paper for more that what initially did in a Master of Finance, right? Which is on a very different topic, eye tracking the information, right, that funds give to investors, and see how investors deal with this information. You actually went all the way to the US to present this work, so that was quite an experience. And another joint project with Hulai Zhang and Luc Wennewoog, who's the chair today, became part of the PhD thesis. Right? In that paper, you investigate the behavioral options again, but now looking specifically at the announcement of class action lawsuits. You find that markets, option markets, somehow anticipate the occurrence of these lawsuits and the outcome of these cases. And then there's a good practice in Tilburg, right, that a third project is a job market or a single audit paper, and you came on a topic, again, related to option markets, but applied in a very different way again, to see what we can learn from options, and later on also survey data, on the expectations of dividends, right? And I particularly look at sort of not realized dividends, but you look at forward expectations and realized expectations, essentially, right? The dynamics of these expectations. And again, you find evidence for irrational behavior, again, evidence of overreaction. So those were the three papers, right? And together with the fourth project with Peter de Groen. Now, as I said, a PhD is not an easy route. And I think everybody, at least many people here in the room have a PhD. For everybody, this comes with ups and downs, right? You also had periods where things went smoothly and went sort of uphill, but there were also periods where progress was slower. You also had to stay in Vietnam for a bit longer for family reasons. But it was good to see that, right, when the finish line was a bit closer in sight, that you right, stepped up and finished all the papers. I think you can be really proud of, right, of finishing this long-term endeavor that a PhD is. And I also think you fitted well in the group. You interacted well with the other PhD students. You were an important asset, to, I think, to the PhD group, and also in general to the department with your presence. And of course, as a supervisor, there are some things that you don't really hear then, right, about the interaction you have with PhD students, but and the things that go on. But indirectly, I think I did get at least a vague idea of sort of how much fun the social program was of the infamous Spanish Finance Forum conference. A conference that you attended with several other Tilburg PhD students. And even though nobody told me directly, I think many interesting things happened over there. But perhaps we can talk about this later today. Now, I mentioned several times already, a PhD is hard, but there's one thing that is harder in Tilburg, and that's the weather, right? And especially for somebody that comes from close to the equator. So we've seen that only above 30 degrees, you would start to dress down somewhat from the winter jacket, sweaters, and so on. I've seen you cycling, where I would come without a coat or something on my bike, and you would look like it was quite deep winter in the Netherlands. So in a sense, it's very fitting that today we're officially still in the winter, in the Dutch winter. It's almost 20 degrees, right? So it's very fitting that today this weather is so good. Okay, Michael, so on behalf of Stefano, right, and myself,
members, given that we will